Hey, Mike, we're playing blackjack. You're the dealer. I'm showing 18. I ask for a card. You flip over a king. What just happened?
You busted, man!
Let's talk some busts on the Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. I am bigz. He is Grindberg, and you are watching the Fantasy Football Advice Network. How you doing?
I am doing excellent, bigz.
Asking the viewers, Mike. Okay, we're talking about busts. This show, we're going to be talking about quarterback busts in 2024, and maybe we'll throw in a tight end here and there. What exactly is a bust in fantasy football? Well, I have a definition for you. A fantasy football bust is somebody who generously underperforms their expectation. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. You might ask, who do you think is going to underperform their expectation at tight end? I have an answer for you, and that's Chicago Bears tight end Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet, he's been tight end 7 the last 2 years in a row. Why do you think he's going to be a bust? Well, first of all, Shane Waldron is the new offensive coordinator. Shane Waldron is not a tight end oriented guy. You can tell because he was at Seattle, and Seattle didn't really put out any big time tight ends since Jimmy Graham was there. There's also a rookie quarterback in the house, and that would be Caleb Williams. But most importantly, there are so many hands to go around that the football is not going to be able to find all of them all the time. So you've got Gerald Everett in house. Rashawn Johnson can catch the ball. DeAndre Swift can catch the ball. Rome Odunze is a rookie that can catch the ball. Keenan Allen is one of the best slot receivers of all time. He's going to be demanding quite a few targets. And DJ Moore is the alpha wide receiver in that room. He's going to be getting his targets too. So as you can see, Cole Kmet's target share is going to go down, and it's hard for a rookie quarterback to support a tight end. Look at the rookie quarterback won last season in spoiler alert, CJ Stroud. We might be talking about him in a little bit. So he couldn't support Dalton Schultz. Everybody thought, oh, Dalton Schultz moving over from the Cowboys, he's going to have a huge year. He'll be a safety valve for the rookie quarterback. Didn't happen that way. It's not going to happen for Kmet. I just spoiled it, but I will get to it now. My number 2 bust is quarterback of the Houston Texans, rookie phenom CJ Stroud. He is being drafted as the quarterback 5, and he finished quarterback 13 last season. He was 8th in passing yards, 13th in touchdowns, 21st in rushing yards, and that's the big kicker. He was 21st in rushing yards. So even if he hits if he has a similar touchdown total, that still puts him in the 13th range. The passing yards and the rush yards offset each other and don't get him near the quarterback 5 spot. So where does this perceived value come from? Why is he being drafted so high? A lot of people think that rookies are going to be on the come up. Last season, he had the fewest interceptions among quarterbacks that had 4,000 or more yards passing, and he had a 2.2% interception rate. That's very good. It was second only to Dak Prescott, and the league average of interception percentage is 2.5. So if he regresses a little bit, it's not really going to affect him very much, but he likely will throw more than 5 interceptions this season. If you remember, he ran off a long streak of games where he didn't throw any interceptions. And then once he finally broke that seal, if you will, they started to come a little bit quicker. What happened in the second half of the season, once he started throwing interceptions, that's probably a little bit closer to reality. Now, when we look at his scoring, for him to get into the top 5 of quarterbacks, he needs to add about 50 points over the course of the season. That's a combination of 6 to 12 more touchdowns and 400 to 800 more yards than he had last year. Is that out of the realm of possibility? No. Is it unlikely? Yes. So I am not drafting CJ Stroud at his quarterback 5 ADP. I would prefer to wait and get him later if he falls into the 10 to 15 range. If I'm going to be positive about CJ Stroud, I'm taking him as QB 10. How about you, Mike? Who are your bests so far?
Well, I think I'm kind of along the same lines of seeing the way the busts work, because I got a quarterback as well that people are going to be like, what the hell? Why you think he's going to be a bust? Well, I think he could have a potential bust category at his ADP of quarterback 1. And I just see some variables here. I see some things happening around the league that makes me want to fade Josh Allen just a little bit. He's still a top 3 quarterback in my opinion, probably a top 2 quarterback, but this might be the season he is dethroned, and that's why his ADP is a little bit scary for me. And here's why. His passing stats are impressive, averaging over 4,300 yards and 34 touchdowns per season since he's been in the league. His running game is just as strong. However, looking ahead in 2024, there's some uncertainty around Josh Allen. The Buffalo Bills made significant changes this offseason. They lost Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. They drafted, promising rookie Keon Coleman, but I don't have a whole lot of stock in him. He's more of a guy that's maybe a year or two out of becoming a guy that I think that the Bills can really, really rely on. So what does that mean? What's left over? Well, guys like Curtis Samuel, well, he's been in the league quite a while. I think he's got a lot of upside this year, but to hold the fort as the wide receiver 1 for the Bills, I think that is a major downgrade from what they had last year. Yes, they have an established target in Dalton Kincaid, but I think they're going to be more run heavy, and that doesn't include Josh Allen, but he had 15 touchdowns last year, and I think that's going to be unsustainable. And with guys like Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson, and potentially Patrick Mahomes and Lamar and Jalen Hurts, there's just a lot of competition at that position. And to put a quarterback 1 ADP on a guy, even though he's proved it year after year, I think it's really tough this year to do that. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant on drafting Josh Allen. And then I got another guy that is we're going to move on to tight end here, and I like Mark Andrews, don't get me wrong. He's been a reliable fantasy asset since 2019, consistently ranking in the top tight ends. He averages nearly 5 receptions for 61 yards per game and almost a half touchdown per game over the last 5 seasons. Despite an injury-shortened 2023, Andrews returned in the playoffs and remained a key part of the Ravens' passing offense. But this year, there's reasons for me to be cautious in Andrews. He saw fewer targets in 2023. I really liked Zay Flowers this year, and I think he's going to emerge as the primary target in that Ravens offense, surpassing Andrews. And then you got to keep in mind the other factor, and that Isaiah Likely is also, I think, has carved out enough of a role which he'll be on the field at the same time, and I think that's just going to garner some of the targets. So I just think the upside isn't going to be as high for Mark Andrews this year, considering all the other targets at that position that you could probably get at a safer discount. So that's why I'm out on those 2 guys. Now, bigz, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get some controversial picks in here if we haven't already gotten that far already. But I know you got one. I got another one here as our number 1. So let's talk about that.
You upstaged me, Mike. I'm the one that's supposed to be bringing the controversy, and I feel like my decisions were very reasoned and understandable. I wasn't expecting you to come out throwing 98-mile-an-hour heat. My number 1 bust, Bo Nix, Denver Broncos quarterback. One of the slams against Bo Nix is that he wasn't exactly an accurate passer in college. It took him a long road to get there, being the all-time NCAA leader in quarterback starts or quarterback games played. He is currently being drafted as the quarterback 31. How can that be a bust, you say? Well, first of all, he's just going to be a bust in general. Secondly, if you look at what happened to Bryce Young last season, Bryce Young was the first overall pick, and he is far more talented than Bo Nix. Even he couldn't navigate his rookie season on a terrible team. And Bo Nix is on a terrible team. So with his ADP at quarterback 31, I'm looking at a list of guys that I would much rather have on my roster. Drake May, for one, because he brings the rushing upside. Sam Darnold, because he's going to start for the Vikings. Aiden O'Connell, he's going to start for the Raiders. Jacoby Brissett, he's going to start for the Patriots. Sam Howell, if anything happens to Geno Smith, Sam Howell was the QB4 in the first 14 weeks of last season, and the Seahawks are better than the Commanders were last year. Jake Browning, if for some reason Joe Burrow can't complete a full season, Jake Browning was a league winner towards the end of the season after Burrow was left. Do not draft Bo Nix at all. You're better off waiting for another quarterback to kind of hit and get picked up off the waiver wire. Bo Nix is going to bust out of the NFL, and he's going to bust off your roster if you own him. So just stay away. We're going to have a show coming up fairly soon, and it's going to be a DND show, not Dungeons and Dragons, Mike. Do not draft. So, one thing that we talk about, especially when we're talking about busts and fades and things like that, is a lot of these guys are still draftable. Is Cole Kmet still draftable? Sure, at the right value. Is CJ Stroud still draftable? Of course, I already said that. Bo Nix is a do not draft because he's going to be such a bust. And I do want to take this moment to tease a huge announcement coming up in the outro, and it involves winning an autographed jersey. Okay, go, Mike. Who's your controversial pick? Stealing my spotlight.
Don't worry. I know I saw the next couple shows, and you're completely one-upping me every single one. So don't you worry, folks. Biggs has got his pocket full of controversy coming. So I'm going to take the spotlight on this one, and I'm going to go with another big name and another big dog at their position, and that is Sam LaPorta. And he had a breakout rookie season for fantasy football, putting up just simply impressive numbers. 86 catches, 889 yards, but the big factor here, the 10 touchdowns, and he led all tight ends in 2023. However, looking forward to 2024, there's some reasons for me to be cautious about his outlook. One concern about LaPorta's role is in this offense where you see Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's always been that top target. That trend is going to continue. It's going to limit his chances despite his, status as the tight end one. Historically, tight ends who aren't the primary target on their teams often struggle to maintain that fantasy production, especially if their touchdown numbers are unusually high and are likely to regress. And that's what I see in 2024. I just think it's going to be hard for him to keep up that touchdown without garnering a ton more targets. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to draft LaPorta at his ADP of 1 or maybe 2, depending on the format you're drafting in. So while he showed promise as a rookie, fantasy managers should approach drafting him as the tight end 1 in 2024 cautiously. His success relied heavily on scoring rather than high volume, and uncertainties around his role in the offensive dynamics in Detroit increased the risk of him not finishing among the top tight ends. Sam LaPorta's breakout season in 2023 dazzled with his catches, his yards, and his 10 touchdowns, but his role behind Amon-Ra St. Brown in this offense poses risk. His touchdown efficiency could regress, signaling potential fantasy disappointment. Opting for proven guys like the Trey McBrides and the Travis Kelce's offer safer bets, in my opinion, and lower ADPs, making LaPorta just too rich for my blood. What do you think about that? Is that just too risky, or am I just out to lunch here, Biggs? I think I'm out to lunch.
And you didn't even mention Donovan Peoples-Jones. No, I mean, expecting Sam LaPorta to repeat as the tight end 1 in certain formats, I don't think is realistic. We saw him with the most productive rookie year at the tight end position ever, and there are lots of red flags that go along with that. Regression is real, folks. A lot of times there is not necessarily a a static spot for players to finish, there's really a window, a range of possible outcomes. So Sam LaPorta's range of possible outcomes is very, very high given what his historic performance is. But we're just basing it on 1 year. There are lots of things that can happen. Amon-Ra can command more targets. Jahmyr Gibbs can command more targets. He could get hurt. There are lots of reasons why things can go one way or the other. He could even repeat or better what he did last season. But what we're doing is we're trying to hone in on the most likely outcome. And regression is a thing that happens, especially when you have such an historic season as he did. It's likely he's going to come back to earth a little bit. That's just the law of averages, folks. And some of us hate it, especially Devontae Adams fans. All right. So I said I was going to tease something. You see his hat I'm wearing? Fantasy Football Advice Network hat. Mike's got one too. Different colorways. You can go to the Streamlab. You can go to Fantasy Football Advice Network. In fact, we are going to be launching the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. It's a whole retooling because we're going to be adding lots and lots of different sports in the fantasy realm. There's an app coming with it. And to help the launch, we are announcing jersey leagues in which you can enter a league specifically for one player's jersey, and the winner of that league will win an autographed jersey of that player. I personally am looking at 2 and possibly 4, but 2 guaranteed right now, leagues that are open on Sleeper. One is an IDP league. So if you want to play with defensive statistics and be drafting defensive players and you win that league, you'll get an autographed Josh Hines Allen jersey. Now it just says Allen because he recently changed his name to Hines Allen, but it's still Josh Allen, the linebacker from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I also have a Deebo Samuel tight end premium league. So if you want to play with like some boost to the tight end, you can come play with me, and anybody that wins will get the jersey. How do you play, you ask? Send me a DM. If you are already signed up for an FFAN Pro account, send me a screenshot of your account subscription, and I will enter you in the league. If not, I will send you an invitation to sign up for a pro account at FFAN, and then once you send me the screenshot to that, then I will send you the sleeper link, and you can get in and start playing. And we are giving you guys the opportunity to do that first before all of this goes out to all the people a month from now at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, where we will be. Mike?
Yeah, man. I got a pretty premier jersey as well, and that's a Tyreek Hill jersey. And yeah, and we're doing a kind of a spin on a pretty cool concept for this league. We're doing a parent-child league. So you're going to be able to draft with your son or daughter. So if you're a pro member and you want to start a tradition with your child, I think it's a really good opportunity. Myself and my son will be co-managing a team, and I think it's a great opportunity to get kids involved in such an awesome, thing that we do here in fantasy sports. So I'm excited to get it going. So if you are looking to get involved and you want to get your kids involved in something that you're passionate about, and you're pro members, or you want to become a pro member, come and see us, and bigz and I will hook you up, and we'll get you registered into one of our leagues.
Yeah, DM us at BigBonedFFB on Twitter, or at FFCanuck99 on Twitter. Hey, Mike, I want to play in the league with my son.
Do it, man. Come on in.
Just because he's 22 doesn't, that's not it's still
father
son. All right. Thank you guys for watching the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. We will be back with wide receiver busts, and I guarantee you that episode is going to be spicy. We hope you win.
Hope you win. Peace out.